Okay, so Mr. Horn here, talking, or after talking about 18 minutes straight for the last video, I'm here with a new video today, the second one today mm, about the book I read this week, or I'm still reading actually. This book, it's called A Manual for Writers of Research Papers, Theses, and Dissertations, Chicago Style for Students and Researchers, the ninth edition. I started reading this because of Mr. John Sterling, who is not a social worker from England, by the way. Uh, yeah, he pointed out to me that I did not really know what research was yet, and I forgot I had this book before then. I had it like already for a few months on my bookshelf. I hadn't read it yet. Then he reminded me that I needed to do some more research about research, so actually some meta research. Um, yeah, that's why I started reading this book, and I'm glad he reminded me of it. And I'm a bit sad that I haven't started reading this book like a year earlier or something, because it really is essential to my progress. I have noticed so many great things in it about doing research actually, and giving me a structural process. Like certain things are like really interesting and valuable to my own process. I will use this book after I've completed reading it to actually make an action plan in Notion for my research projects, how to easily plan them, how to draft my papers, etc., etc. Um, using this, so it's a practical book, but it also contains some theory. Um, so yeah, like I cannot also go really deep into it right now, also because I talked like a lot in the last video, but also simply because I have not yet done reading it. But what I can say is that it really is quite an interesting and valuable book, and that I wish I read it earlier. And that if you are like aspiring to do research or to write or to publish, that this book is very beneficial to read. It's like one of the foundations for research. I'm looking actually for interesting page. I know I had one, but I haven't written it down. But I can use. I think I can use the table of contents to give you an idea of what is in it. So yeah, they have like three parts, so like three sections, and they have in total. Let's see, they have 26 chapters and an appendix. So what they have like sections. The first section is about research and writing, which is where I'm still at. I started like reading a few days ago, and I read only a little bit. Like I think I might have read 2 or 3 days, and then only an hour each, or something like that. I am at chapter 7 right now. So the first part was about research and writing. The second part is about source citation, which might be interesting for me, but less relevant because it can be done automatically for me using Zotero. But it might still post some interesting insight. And then the third part is about style, which is probably dependent on what do you call it, like the faculty you research in, or maybe not the faculty, but at least the category like the social sciences or the humanities, etc., etc. And then the appendix is about the paper format and submissions, so it might have been it's more suited towards writing a dissertation thesis like a PhD, which I also want to do later on. Uh, so yeah, currently I am at about chapter 7, like I said. So I have read about the concept of research, what it is, and how researchers think about it. I've read about defining a project using like choosing your topic, getting a question for your topic because a research paper is usually really narrow. Uh, Finding the problem, what do you want to solve actually, and then the formulating a working hypothesis, which is like a hypothesis that you think upfront, but that can change later on depending on how far you are into the research. Finding useful sources, which was actually quite a valuable chapter for me because that was something I was kind of struggling with. before. I did find out my own methodology, but still, it was interesting and useful. And then the next chapter was about engaging your sources, like actually conversing with the books, papers. They were explaining that you actually participate in an active communication with the past, sometimes 2,000 of years, because of a network principle, like author X cites author Y, who lived 50 years ago, who cited blah blah blah, blah, you know. So that's then they went into constructing your argument, which I read today, and planning the first draft, which I also read today. Then I'm busy in drafting your paper, the chapter. Uh, so yeah, it's pretty valuable. I've learned some things from it, which I cannot really go into too much depth right now because I haven't completed my reading yet. But I definitely recommend you to read it if you are interested in science, research, and in writing on an academic level. Uh, so yeah, I might do a future video where I go more in depth about what is actually contained in this book, provide a summary or something. And as for the next book for this week, which I will most likely complete and actually provide a summary of, will be sorry about that. Some water came down the wrong hole. So yeah, the next book I will probably complete this week will be about sleep. I think, like why we sleep, but I'm not entirely certain yet. Stay tuned.